What up, everybody? This is Mr. View, and today we're going to be continuing on with Stalin and exactly what he did in Russia, which was crazy, right? They've become the Soviet Union, and so they're a communist bloc at this point, and they're getting bigger and stronger, if you will. But the outside world doesn't know a lot about what Stalin is doing. He is communist. Remember, the Bolsheviks took power in Russia right after the Russian Revolution, and they became very powerful and influential. They started changing things. They ran a totalitarian style government where they controlled the press and they had used terror and they had secret police, a lot of censorship and propaganda and stuff like that. So they were imprisoning and getting rid of, exiling, killing the people who were their opposition. So they were doing a lot of terrible things within the Soviet Union or Russia at this point. But we didn't know as the outside world, just like we didn't know about concentration camps during World War II necessarily when Hitler was doing what he was doing. So the guy named Joseph Zhugashvili, or Stalin, Man of Steel, as he changed his name, took over. He did a lot of different things for the Soviet Union. First, he started these collectives, and collectives were these large farms. He combined a bunch of little farms. He took these little farms from people, and he combined them into one big farm throughout Russia, and they had to work together. They were collectively supposed to work, right? That's communism. Everybody works together. Everybody gets the same stuff. So he takes the farmers' land, he takes their crops, he takes their animals, he takes their tools. Then he gives them to Russia as a result. And these farmers still had to work these farms. Well, the farmers, they didn't like this idea, right? They had worked their whole life. They've got this amount of cows and this amount of chickens or pigs or whatever they had. They had these different tools and things. They didn't want to just give them to the government. So what they did was they either sold or killed the animals, they burned some of the crops, and they broke some of their own tools. They're like, screw you, we're not giving you this stuff. We'll destroy it. We'll keep just enough for ourselves. And what does Stalin do as a result? He comes in and takes the rest. The farmers had kept enough for themselves to make themselves have enough food and things. The government took that. And so a lot of people ended up starving to death after the Peasants' Revolt. 5 to 8 million people in the Ukraine alone starved to death. Put that in perspective. Do you know about the Holocaust and how many people killed or died in the Holocaust? 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. 11 million people overall. But here, 5 to 8 million people starved to death from Stalin. So we think of Hitler as this terrible dude, and he was a terrible dude. Stalin is on that same level. But wait, he's not done. After his collectives, he does this thing called the Great Purge. And the Great Purge was he's getting rid of. That's what purge means. Get rid of, right? If you purge your emails, that means you get rid of your emails. So he has this Great Purge where Stalin orders that all the critics that he has, any opposition that he has, are either killed or exiled. He gets rid of everyone that doesn't feel like he does. It's crazy, right? He's getting rid of people. He was super paranoid. So he thought anybody that could challenge me for power, I'm getting rid of. I'm going to kill. This hurts them in World War II because he gets rid of a bunch of the leaders, guys who really didn't want Stalin's power or anything, but were good generals. He saw them as a threat. Got rid of them. He killed them. So their leadership in World War II was pretty bad. Not to mention he was bad. He exiles or kills between 4 and 20 million people. That's a crazy number. I mean, remember, I just put in the perspective, Holocaust, 6 million Jews, 4 and 20 million killed here, in addition to the 5 to 8 million killed when he starved them to death. He depleted Soviet leadership, and he was planning another one when he died. I'm going to go into the gulags a little bit. The gulags were the labor concentration camps. These, exactly what I said, concentration camps, right? Forced labor camps, just like kind of what Hitler did in World War II with those concentration camps during the Holocaust. He said he put the criminals in there, but these criminals could be thrown there for merely telling a joke about Stalin, or kind of like a witch hunt. If a neighbor wanted somebody else's apartment, they might say, He's talking bad about Hitler or about Stalin, and he would get thrown into the gulags, into these concentration camps, even though he might not have said anything. He just had a bad name. So these gulags, these labor camps, were for criminals, but he also did stuff called ethnic cleansing. Sound familiar? Just like the Holocaust, right? So he threw people, the Polish people, the Poles, Germans, Scandinavians, you name it, anybody that wasn't like his heritage, he threw in these gulags, these concentration camps. These were really bad places to live, obviously. Not maybe not on the same barbaric level as concentration camps, but very similar, I would say. They were freezing conditions. They were not in the best places in the Russian climate, if you will. They were up north. They were very cold. There was a lot of timber. There was a lot of coal, things like that, natural resources. So they basically made these people work to death. 12 to 14-hour days. They go work, 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 work. They work until they died, if you will. They had very little food. And if they tried to revolt or tried to run away, they could be shot. These guards were not very good people, not very nice. So these gulags, a part of hidden history, if you will, and Stalin is the same. A guy that you kind of know is a bad guy, but here's the facts. This guy killed a lot, millions and millions of people. He ends up die on his hands or on his watch. He starves them to death. He exiles them, works them to death. Very bad dude, this Stalin. If you want some interesting stuff, if you're interested by the Holocaust type things, some of the stories, this is fascinating too. Type in Gulag, watch some videos or whatever. There's some crazy stuff going on. Now for today, I'm kind of letting you off the hook, but all you have to do for your assignment is if your last name starts with A through K, write down the word lion. If your name starts with the letter L through R, your last name, write down the word tiger. If your last name starts with an S through Z, write down the word bear. And that's only question you have today. So once again, if your last name starts with the letter A through K, lion. L through R, tiger. S through Z, bear. It's as easy as I can make it today. Hope you learned a lot. Bye.